Football fans, Gooners of the world, this is Shutter with Blackburn, George, and Ehab with our regular Friday weekly Arsenal. And today we're going to be talking about what Arsenal can do to beat Chelsea again. We play them on Sunday. With us having lost our first game against Brentford. And if you see me hesitating, I'm trying to get my graphics up. But not a good start to the season. But we have had a lot of luck, well, Arteta in particular, but we have had a lot of luck with Chelsea. We did the double over them last year. We beat them in the FA Cup, if my memory serves me right. I'm pretty much sure of that. And we now meet them again. They're perhaps one of the favorites to win the title. And I'm the bookmakers have them, on Football Critic, it's like 3-4, 3-5 for them to win. And we two old farts, or maybe I include myself amongst them, think that there might be a way for us to win this match. Will there be a reaction to Brentford? Blackburn, George.
Oh, of course we can win it. It'll depend on the team we pick. It'll depend on how the team we pick plays. But they're massive favourites. I think they're more favourites than 3-5 on. They'll have Lukaku. I'm dreading seeing him up against Ben White aerially. And
yeah, we spent 58 million and got that $1 million on a guy who is aerially challenged. But keep going.
So I think they're massive favourites, and I think we're struggling. Whether we'll see Aubameyang and Lacazette able to play, we still don't know. If we can't, it'll be similar to we played last week, and that doesn't fill you with confidence. So I think if I were a betting man, I'd be running down to the bookie, lumping some money on Chelsea. And I don't think previous results matter much at all. They've got a new manager since then. They've got a lot of new players. They're playing completely different football. And we've got the same manager, but a lot of new players, a lot of players injured. I really don't think past results matter at all in this instance. I mean, you can go back a bit further and we never beat them at all, hardly, for years.
Yes, I remember that.
That doesn't matter. It's gone. Look at this season now. How we're liable to go on Sunday, is it?
Yes, it is.
And I think it's going to be a struggle. But of course we can win. Any team can beat any team. But if you say how we're going to do it, we're going to have to play at our best. And I think they're going to have to play a bit below their best. And then we could win. And I can't see that happening.
Ehab, what does Chelsea bring to this game? They have brought back Lukaku for a meager sum of £108 million after selling him. I was amazed at this team. But Ehab, I look at their squad and it's a Champions League squad. It's massive.
Yeah.
And it's stacked with defenders. I counted 6 defenders who could probably walk on our team. Their midfield is stacked. And obviously their strikers are stacked. Tell the listeners, what does Chelsea bring to this game?
Chelsea under Tuchel brings direct play. And this is something that we have been struggling with, even against a team with no talent like Brentford. I think Arteta hasn't still figured out how to, transition from defense to offense and the other way around. It's going to take him another 100 games or so to figure this out. and playing this quick. The wingers they have in every team they have two wingers and they have two wing backs. They move quickly. Everybody is quick. They struggled last year because they didn't have an end product with their target man, which was Timo Werner.
Well, they were playing him as a false nine for most of Tuchel's time.
Yeah,
Lampard was playing Tammy Abraham. When Tuchel came, he sat down Tammy Abraham. He wasn't going to do it. A reference point, a big strike up front. He wanted more mobility, as you have said.
exactly. And this is a team that won the Champions League, and they've upgraded Giroud at that point of his career.
Yeah, they got rid of him this year. I mean, when I say got rid of him, the contract ended and they didn't renew it.
Yeah, and Giroud is like what 32, 33, and he's at the point of his career where it's gonna go downhill. It has been going downhill from his days at Arsenal, and they chose somebody who's in his prime right now, which is Lukaku. He's having
28 years old.
yeah, and he's had his best year I think of his career yet, and he won the Italian Serie A. So this is quite an upgrade. Maybe they will have a little bit of trouble with the how they're gonna fit Werner and Lukaku together the same way they had fit Giroud and Werner together. And we know that Timo Werner has struggled. He hasn't. It's not like a totally falls down nine. He plays a little bit behind the attacker, but he's also a center forward. So they basically play in a 3-4-3-5-2 or a 5-2-3 something like that where
they played a 3-4-3 against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but Mason Mount is gonna drop behind the two strikers, and the two strikers are gonna play up top.
Right.
And Mason Mount dropping behind the two strikers is gonna allow Reece James to basically play as a winger, which what they do most of the time. They have Jorginho, who does what Xhaka does for us, where he can select the direction of play, where the ball goes, and who goes forward first. He does switch from side to side easily. He does control the game a little bit from deep. And it depends who they're gonna pick next to Xhaka. If they think that they can beat us down the middle, we're gonna say Kovacic. If they think that our midfield is dangerous, they're gonna start Kante in there, and this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna be a little bit more careful, especially at the start of the season, and they are gonna rely on going down the flanks. We have a problem on the left side where Chambers hasn't been his best against Brentford. Another showing like that, and they're gonna kill us on that side. With Marcos Alonso and Werner on that side. It's going to be hard for us. They advance the ball on that side really quickly, and having Werner there means they don't have to go across to score. All they have to do is just play a simple, exchange on the left, and it's gonna give Werner a shot. He's not been making them, but you never know. We have Arsenal has a tendency of breaking bad players out of their slumps somehow. And this is what's gonna go. They're gonna go at us directly through the wings, and they have two finishers in the box that sadly right now the way we play defense we cannot deal with them. We beat them 1-0 last time under the same manager, and if you go back and look at that game, we've been mighty lucky. It's basically an own goal, the goal that Emmitt Smith-Rowe scored. Whether one of their defenders usually almost scored an own goal, but the keeper saved it on the goal line and came down to our player just right there to score. So they did batter us. They had the chances to win. In that game, they pressed us really well. We had to defend with 10 players in parts of the game. And this is what they're gonna do. They're just gonna keep coming at us with speed. They're gonna keep coming at us directly. They don't waste time. It's really similar to what Sir Alex Ferguson played at United before he learned to play the total football thing in 2007, 2008. It's attack, attack, attack. It's going to go forward. They have the defenders to deal with the speed to deal with the counter attacks, which Arteta relies on. Whoever starts on the wings for us is going to be isolated big time, because what they do on defense, they come back quickly on defense. With Kante being there, he's going to help on the wings, and Arsenal try to get the ball on the wings first to Aubameyang, allow him to hold the ball a little bit, and try to find somebody down the middle. Even bad teams have dealt with this easily. And if you send Pepe or Aubameyang down the right or left, they're gonna look totally isolated with the defense that Chelsea does. They're gonna gang up on them. We're gonna lose so much balls down the corners, and this is what they bring to the table: just speed on offense and defense. They well organized. They defend in numbers. They go back on defense and set themselves up quickly. And once they got the ball, you got those two quick wing backs going up front with two quick attackers up top. And if it doesn't work out, they just recycle it with two passes, and Jorginho would move the ball to the other side and start the assault from the other side.
My friend, you sound like a real Chelsea fan, George. Well, after that, that technical assault from Ehab, how are we going to cope with this? You know, George, one of your things you and I discussed in the game was how reliant Arsenal was on Xhaka passing to Tierney. We're lobbing the ball in. And Ehab is saying this is very predictable, easy to defend. I, for one, also found, and I'm not going to be. We're not here to be negative. We're here to see how we can win. Don't get me wrong, listeners and viewers. Do you think Arteta will learn from that game? The other thing I also learned from that game is that teams have worked out Pepe. He cannot go outside. They force him inside and then cut off his crosses, and that just slowed down our attack. Then, as Ehab said, Chambers as a right back is very limited, and I don't know why he's a regular, and that worries me. But will Arteta learn anything from this Brentford game? Come on, George, you have to speak up for our club.
No, he won't.
Come on, George.
No, he won't have learned anything. He'll stick by his principles and his belief that his system will work. No, I don't want to be negative, but I can't see us winning. I really can't. It's going to be a miracle, or it's going to be not a miracle, but we're going to do well to win, or we're going to do very well to even get a draw. But Chelsea are a great team.
Oh yeah, Georgia's packed.
That doesn't mean that we're crap because we're not going to beat Chelsea. Or indeed, if we play Manchester City the week after and don't beat them, that doesn't make us a crap team either. You could say not beating Brentford does make you a crap team. But the news came out that Aubameyang, Lacazette, Willian were all suffering from COVID. Nikita was injured. And you look at the numbers, 70% possession and 22 shots on goal. I'm inclined to think that if Aubameyang and Lacazette had played, that would have made a difference. They would probably have scored from those 22 attempts. So
you did make that point in our podcast.
Yeah, did I?
Yes, you did. That was the last question I asked you. Well, go ahead, George. I'm saying that you are consistent. Yes.
I agree with myself. And I think that was a bad result, but it's not as bad as it looked at the time. So we could lose 3 games on the spin and it looked absolutely awful. But you got to remember, we'll have played Manchester City and Chelsea.
two of the wealthiest
It won't
teams.
stop people worrying. It won't stop the panic setting in. But I think you've got to look at where we are and who we're playing and realise that it's unlikely that we would beat these teams. And if you were doing a list of, if they didn't tell you what the fixture list was, if they just gave you that you were playing Chelsea and Manchester City twice, you'd probably be optimistic if you thought we were going to get a point out of all 4 games.
Yes.
So let's not cry too much that we're unlikely to beat Chelsea because almost every team in the league is unlikely to beat Chelsea.
But you know, George, we were in the same position last year on Boxing Day. Of course, Chelsea was under Lampard and they were not doing well. And we all know that loss to us. We were 15th actually when we went into that game. And that loss to us probably sealed his fate. He lasted another 2 games.
So.
Yes, he was, by January he was gone. But Arteta did something, you know, George. He was forced to do it, if you recall. He started Martinelli. Second start for Smith Rowe. He had Bellerin playing right back. He had Saka on the right in the midfield. He had Tierney on the left. We were a very balanced team, and we went after Chelsea. We defended in numbers, and when we attacked, we went after Chelsea. Don't we stand a chance again? Can we bring those tactics to the table?
Well, if we can get Frank in to manage Chelsea, yeah. No, you know, I'm repeating myself. That's gone. That team of Chelsea had is gone. That manager Chelsea had is gone. And it was a good result, but I can't see it. I just can't. I want to. I hope so, but I can't see it.
Ehab, I throw the same question at you. Because then, you know, you were just being the devil's advocate, obviously. You're an Arsenal fan. I don't want anybody to have any doubts about that. But because of your experience doing some scouting in the past, I have made you my scout for all these opposing teams, and you have to speak for them. But what can Arsenal do? George, do you agree with George?
Yeah, they're a great team, but there's something in football that it's end of the day. Those are professional players, and they are not bad. I mean, people look at Arsenal. Arteta has made Arsenal players look like Division 3 players, but they're not. They are professional players that we've developed, that we've bought for a lot of money, that can still produce in the right system. The problem is managers nowadays suck. Even Pep, and you know, apart from Klopp and Bielsa, I have no respect for any other manager
Yes.
who's playing right now, because they just take what's given to them. They do not try to control the game themselves. Back when everybody said the classic number 10 is gone, Arsene Wenger played 3 of them in one game.
Right.
Of the games, you know, he played Cazorla, Ozil, and Wilshere, or you know, Rosicky. And when you have a wall in front of you, you don't just go around it or smash into it. Some people are good enough to push that wall back little by little till it collapses, or you find holes in it. And this is what you have to do as a manager. And this is the way to beat a team like Chelsea. Nobody has tried to attack Chelsea down the middle, and they have a big hole on defense that nobody looks at. And that's
Do you
why.
remember the time we beat them with Mozil, and we left Kante on his ass? That is when Martinelli sprinted away. Which is that hole in the middle is that the hole in the middle you're talking about? Because that's what they do. They
had this. I'm sorry, this was a 2-2. If you want to look back at the Conte when Conte used to be their the manager.
Yes.
And Actually, they are playing a similar football to what Conte does. Antonio Conte does. But Antonio Conte is a better manager than Thomas Tuchel. But they are playing a little bit similar to it, and they always had that hole in the middle where just think about it. They are playing with two midfielders only. That's it. Which is Kante.
Kovacic and Jorginho last
Yeah,
game.
Kovacic and Jorginho, Kante and Jorginho, and if you have enough players down the middle to force the middle center back up, and now they are playing with Christiansen, who's not really good, and they're gonna force him back up. It's going to open spaces up on the right and left because the back three suddenly becomes a back two, and they have to get narrower, and they have to get back Reece James and Marcus Alonso just to keep us with our width. If we go down the middle, they have to commit people down the middle, and it's gonna open spaces on the right and left. There's this goal that I remembered from the Christmas time, couple 3 years ago against Antonio Conte that Jack Wilshere scored, and it was I think an assist by Ozil against.
You have a powerful memory. I can't remember.
Yeah, but if you look at that goal, and this goal, if Arteta goes back and look at it, it came from a corner that we passed short, and we passed it down the middle, and it came down to Ozil and I think Wilshere down the middle, and they exchanged the ball on the edge of Chelsea box 3 or 4 times before Ozil slipped the ball down to Wilshere that he scored a beautiful shot. And
Wow.
to play this kind of football against Chelsea today will beat them. Chelsea cannot defend against attacks down the middle still.
Help us with that, Ehab. Go find the YouTube and send us that. But so, what is your predictions of the score? Because we don't want to. Let's get to the brass tacks here. I agree with you that I'm somewhat. Well, first of all, I agree with both you and George, but I'm agreeing with you that there's a way to beat them, but I'm not sure Arteta knows or. Well, put it this way: Arteta is inherently conservative, and he wants to control the game, and that's the point to make. All these modern coaches want to control every acre of space, every inch of space on the ground. They don't want to give the players any initiative. Say, unlike Arsene Wenger, go and pick them apart. Work this out. I'm sitting in my seat. I'm going to give you instructions. You go and pick them apart. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But what is your prediction as the score?
For me, it's I'm going to predict something really shocking. I think Arsenal is going to win this. And I think it's going to be a narrow win. Just snatch a goal, 2-1 or 1-0. And we're gonna defend back. I think the quality of Xhaka and Emmitt Smith Rowe, with Saka on the flanks, is going to have the ball down the middle. I like what Lokongo did the other game when he actually carried the ball forward. If we do this, we're gonna be able to snatch a goal and then defend for our lives for the rest of the game. I think
George, you heard that? That's a Chelsea man saying that. That's a Chelsea man saying that we could pull a mighty upset, George. Nick a goal and defend for our lives. Because there's a hole in the middle. Your prediction on the score?
3-0 Chelsea.
Wow, we got two extremes here. I don't know where to fall, but and I don't know really. I'm caught in the middle. I would like to hope that Arteta picks a balanced team that can pick Chelsea apart. But I don't know. You all know by now that I really am not very confident in Arteta. I think the statistics, the data is very, very strong. More losses, more draws. And I'm 59 games in the PL. I'm not even counting the Europa. So But I know he can pull a rabbit out the hat. He has done it. He's done it against Manchester City, and he's done it against Chelsea. So I really am. I think that there's a chance, but it depends on how we set up. So guys, apparently, let's just do a last little thing here. We have finally snatched Odegaard from Real Madrid for a lowly £30 million. You all know where I stand on this. I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's cheap by any means. And maybe Ramsdale is coming for another 30 million. Added to Ben White for 58. And those two other guys were in the 20s, and one of them was in the teens. That's about how much he have
150 million almost.
£50 million. Probably they have done their spending. Your thoughts on, first of all, you and Josh kept as quiet as possible in this debate. Guys, I don't even have 1,000 followers. 500,000 impressions, and they were coming at me every day. But you know what? Nobody seems to have learned a blasted thing from Barca. 70 million for Ousmane Dembele. 140 million from Griezmann. Paying Messi 400,000 a week. And they're gone tits up. Real Madrid is not buying anybody this year. Real Madrid is not, but they've got Varane, they're selling Varane. Sergio Ramos is gone. The Spanish league is in the toilet financially. And people think 30 because Chelsea and City have inflated transfer fees and wages that this is sustainable. £30 million is cheap. This is a fella that cannot make Real Madrid's first team. So I am not backing down one solitary inch. £30 million is a lot of money for a player who couldn't even make Real Madrid's first team, unlike Mesut Ozil, who was a legend before he came here. And I deliberately put Arsene Wenger in the frame because I knew it would trigger them. I could have said Arsenal, because Arsene Wenger would never have done that deal, in my opinion. But, I've written a blog and I've written a post. And then put on the top of that, Thiago Silva only cost Liverpool £25 million. Mm-hmm. And he's a full-blown Spanish international. Are you out of your minds? But hey, 500,000 people can't be wrong. Well, can't they be? Come on, tell me.
Actually, I haven't paid attention because it's useless nowadays. Yeah. It's like, have you seen the Tom Hanks movie, The Money Pit?
I've watched a Tom Hanks movie. I'm not sure if I've watched
that. Where they buy a house and they put hundreds of thousands on it trying to fix it, and it's all useless. And this is what's going on with Arteta's Arsenal. It's just trying to cover up a fire with loads of money, and at the end it's just gonna eat up the money, and the fire is gonna keep going on. Yep. It's useless. We could buy Messi for 200 million, and it's not gonna change anything the way that we play. What's Messi gonna do if he's isolated on the right side against Rudiger, Kante, and Christiansen?
Nothing.
Yeah. At 33 years of old, and there are three people banging on him. It's the same. You cannot do that to players. So I don't pay attention to that. 30 million for Odegaard is a bit much. But if you're gonna use him to his potential and he's gonna be good to the team, that pay 30 million. But we're not gonna do that. And if we pay 10 million for him, it's gonna be too much because we're not gonna use him to the 10 million.
That sounds like me. George, what about you? He's here. He's gonna be with us. He's gonna strengthen our midfield. We couldn't rely solely on Emile Smith-Rowe. Your general thoughts. You don't even have to respond directly to my little rant a while ago.
Yeah, well, on a general point, I'm a bit distressed, really, that everything is negative now about Arsenal. That nothing they can do is they're getting no credit for anything.
Yes.
Now you can say that Odegaard might be overpriced, but if you look at the other side and you think, well, hang on a minute. At one point, he was the most highly rated teenager in the world.
Correct.
Right? In the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's technically outstanding. He looks to have the right attitude. Let's just try and give him a fucking chance and not worry about how much we've paid for it, because we've paid it. Doesn't matter. He's not going to be a problem for me. That Tavares, that looks a good buy for me. Lukongo, I'm well happy with him. I think we've massively overpaid for Ben White, but he's not a bad player if he's using the right system. Yeah. But we're so tied up in being critical of everything. We're not allowing ourselves to enjoy anything. These 4 players could be good for the club. If Arteta doesn't make it work, he'll be gone. And we'll still have those 4 players for years to come, for somebody who can use them to be able to use them. So it's not all bad. You've got to fucking enjoy something. Give them a chance. Not Arteta. I don't like Arteta, but I'm not going to let my dislike for him spoil my approach and hope that these players succeed. And at the moment, that's what it is. We're everybody seems to be, and people are jumping on the bandwagon now. There's more and more negative people, and a lot of them won't be negative towards Arteta yet because they're not sure it'll get them followers.
Yes.
So you find somebody else to blame. They're blaming Stan Kroenke. They're blaming Edu. They're blaming the players. They're blaming.
That's by the way, George. That is amazing.
Fucking
George, I'm interrupting you here.
I'm interrupting you here. Christmas.
George, I'm interrupting you here. They're blaming Stan Kroenke, and that is I also have joined on that. The man has spent £250 million alone on Arteta.
Yeah.
And he's giving them £150 million to spend this summer. So what are these demonstrations on Saturday all about? I mean, I think that the problem is that the coaching has been horrible.
That's the biggest problem. I agree. But, I mean, you see people saying, I had an argument on Twitter yesterday with that Phil I Am, angry of Islington.
Yes.
Trying to tell me that he hadn't invested any money, that it wasn't his money, it was Arsenal's money. It is Arsenal's money. His money. Because Arsenal is his. It's fucking madness to say that if he's spending Arsenal's money, he's not spending his money. It's his club. Correct. If he runs up the debt, if he borrows £300 million to invest, and they say, oh, well, he'll want that back. He's running it like a business. Of course he'll want it back at some point, or he'll want it secured against the club, because it's a business. It's not a fucking charity. And it does my head in. We moaned for years about him not spending, not allowing the club to spend. He's spending hand over fist. We're outspending City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, everybody. We're outspending everybody at the moment. And it's not the right spending. Fucking hell, it's money, isn't it? It's buying the players. What do they want? Fucking arseholes, honestly. And I don't like Stan Kroenke. I'm not defending him as a great owner.
Neither do I.
The fact that he's fucking spending. And you can't criticise him for not spending when he is spending. Criticise him for picking Mikel Arteta. Criticise him for sacking Arsene Wenger. Criticise him for allowing Mesut Ozil to be fucking sent away. Criticise him for all those things. But don't fucking tell me he's not spending. It's fucking ridiculous. And these kids on Twitter and these grown men that think they're experts, they want him to treat Arsenal like a child. And fucking, they want... He's not involved in transfers. They want him to be involved in transfers. What do they want? They want him to do the scouting. They want him to move to fucking London. They want him to go to games. Fuck off. He's an owner of massive amount of different franchise, and he lives in America. All he has to do is authorize the club to spend, and he's done it.
And also, George, to hire the right people.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm saying, criticise him for that. He's not hiring the right people. That's what we should be going in on. Not pretending that he's not fucking spending money or making this fucking absolute stupid, ridiculous assertion that this isn't proper money because he's not got it out his fucking back pocket and passed it to Arteta under the table in a brown paper envelope There isn't even a fucking mechanism for putting it. Even Manchester City have to pretend to get the money from somewhere. They can't just throw it on the table. But they're thinking, oh, it's not his money. Of course it's his fucking money. It's his club. 100% his club.
George, I could not agree with you more on that. And you know, I would like to close. I'm gonna get Ehab to say something on that before we go. You know, I as much as I tweeted about Mr. Odegaard, Mr. Odegaard. I recognize, and I did say, and I've said before that you know, I think he's a decent player, technically very good. And he can do the basics very well. And my concern is that he doesn't see the spaces angle. In fact, I tweeted last year that somebody needs to coach him so he can play more through balls. And that's, if he can do that, he'll be a very effective player. Let me make that very clear. But what George is saying is that everything is now a negative, and I might probably be dragged into it as well. And I'm willing to hold up my hand on that. What can we enjoy from this? What is there to enjoy? What you? I mean, I know you pan the spending, and I think that is also true. Ehab, it's a way of, it's a public relations. In many respects, it's also public relations to placate the fans.
Yeah.
But there is a thing. Everything is negative. What are your thoughts?
First of all, I like that George's idea of being positive is liking what's going to happen when Arteta goes away. It's like I have a racist uncle, but when he dies, he's going to leave me a lot of money.
A lot of money, right?
Oh, bad. he's okay. So,
there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, something to look forward to. Actually, the negativity comes from the results and the performances. I mean, I love that we buy in players. I feel really happy before games. Like I want to watch the game. I'm excited. But you go into the game and you see us manage 2 shots on goal, and you know, people get isolated, and our defense is struggling. Where are the 11 players? When you're watching the game, you're wondering, where are our 11 players? There's nobody on defense. There's nobody on offense. Xhaka has the ball in midfield all by himself.
And I'm just passing to Tierney.
Yeah. Where's everybody?
Yes.
And this is what you look at, and you know, and you think, okay, I'm wasting my time. And when Brentford scored the second goal in the 62nd minute, I just turned the game off. It's not fun anymore. We're losing. We're not playing well. We're not creating chances. You're not enjoying it. I don't mind losing I mind losing to Brentford if we at least, you know, if we hit the bar 3 times and the keeper made 15 saves, like one time when we lost to Manchester United 3-1, and he had 35 saves.
Yes. George talks about that all the while. 30 on saves, we bombarded him. I just couldn't get it in.
Yeah, but the thing is, you cannot get up and walk away from that match, although we lost 3-1.
Yes.
At home. Yeah, but this is not football. It's a waste of time. And you have to forget about it and take a day or so to think, okay, maybe they're going to be okay. Maybe Arteta's going to learn, maybe so and so. This is where the negativity comes from, the performances and the results. That's it. And I love Odegaard. I love every player we signed, all of them. They're really good signings. And I don't give a fuck how much we pay for them. It's the market.
Because it's not our money.
But you know, I think it's gonna sink us if we keep spending on Arteta. But I mean, we've already down. I think this is too late to just, you know, go back now. It's 250 million with 300 million spent and 200 million wasted. We're too deep. But I like all the players. I would love to have them in a good system. I would love for Arteta's system to work out one day magically and goes. But
yes, but you make a good point, you know, Ehab, and I'm going to try to wrap this up.
Yeah, I'm good.
That is what I see, even on George's blog, where we had a lot of regular people posting. And also on Twitter, increasingly, people are not enjoying it. I suppose it's, well, they enjoy it when we snaggle a 1-0 win. But, you know, George, you're not enjoying it. Even on your blog, Positively Arsenal, That's what the feedback. They're not enjoying the slog. And they're not going to losing to Brentford and I don't know, even losing to Chelsea. And as we expect, the odds, the bookmakers say we will lose. You know what I mean, George? I don't know what's going to take for us to enjoy it. I'm going to give you the last word, George.
Well, we won't enjoy it if we go into everything thinking we're not going to enjoy it. And unfortunately, it's a two-way thing. We can enjoy it if they give us something to enjoy. If they give us something to enjoy, they'll get the backing, and everything will be fine. It's up to Arteta, and it's up to Arteta to give us something worth watching, not this dross that we've had for over 12 months since Mesut Ozil stopped playing, basically. But
yeah, that is the whole point of the Premier League. You have to, the whole point of the Premier League is that that's why we watch it. It's supposed to be enjoyable, your club, even when your club is struggling. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Next week, again, we'll do this the same time, the weekly Arsenal. But hopefully, Arsenal can defeat Chelsea and give us something to enjoy. Thank you very much, George and Ehab.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All righty.